What's up, guys? Thanks for checking out another video. I am here with who is probably my star student of 2018. Came with a freaking killer deal, the biggest deal that I've ever closed, of a $5 million deal. He did the work to go out and find the deal. And I think that a lot of times people don't recognize, number one, that these kind of things can happen. You know, that I've had plenty of people come on, they go and they find a hidden market deal and it's a $500,000 business or, a few $100,000 business. But the whole point of this is that every once in a while, you're going to come across that well, and it's all the things that we want. It's a motivated seller that's willing to give us the deal with a low down payment, that's willing to take earn out on the deal, and, is a significant business. So I wanted to do a quick kind of just quick video with Jacob, introduce him, let you tell a little bit from your end about the story of coming across this business, and also kind of congratulate you, man. I was very excited to get that thing done and closed. And now not only did you get a six-figure referral fee, but you're participating in the deal, helping to grow it. We talked a little bit before this call about how we're going to be growing this thing, and I'm excited about the business in general. So yeah, if you'll do just a quick intro, your background, what got you interested in buying businesses, from the get-go, and then a little bit of the work to finding this deal.
Yeah, so basically we got a little bit of feedback, but basically my intro into buying deals is I started doing profit sharing deals with businesses, and I'd run their marketing, and that's because that's my background. And then I would take a portion of the profit. And then after a couple of times of they were the ones slowing me down, or one didn't pay me after the end, I'm like, I just need to be that owner instead of working for that owner. So I had a business in mind I wanted to go after. And then I think that's when I really stumbled into Ace's stuff. And I'm like, wait, I can just buy them all. So that was, that was the genesis of that. So I started getting in, and I think I got in on a couple of deals, but I think Ace mentioned at the first, he's like, hey, if anybody brings in some deals, you'll get a hefty referral fee. And I'm like, that sounds good to me, because especially I'm only 25, so I'm not rolling in millions to invest. So I'm like, any more that I can get in is better. So just started reaching out to a lot of businesses and getting in a lot of conversations. And that was probably a really helpful spot, just to start talking to as many people, just to see where everybody was going. I started reaching out to a lot of Kickstarter businesses, which was the first one, and just seeing where they were coming from. And then I sort of expanded into more of my areas that I'd worked on before. And Book Scatter, it was usually how the conversations went was I send them an email or reached out to them. We started a conversation. They were like, oh, where's the price? Nothing, they're trying to be really, play the fence. And
one thing I'll interrupt you and say, because you kind of skipped over it, is you did the work, and you talked to a lot of people, and you would even send me a deal. We were already in some deals together, so you know what it looked like for a business to be a decent business. So you weren't sending over just terrible things, but you would send over a deal like, this isn't going to work because of this and that kind of thing. We had a couple that were close and interesting, and we would get on the call, and I would talk to the seller and say, okay, this one isn't going to work. And the thing that I loved about you is that once we got to the deal that we ended up closing, you still had that same momentum, the same level of kind of aggressiveness for going after deals. And I think one of the things that happens in this space is that people get discouraged. I see it even with clients that I'm working with right now, where they're not even doing the work of finding hidden off market deals. They find a deal and they're like, okay, I just want to do this one. And we find some issues, like, it's like, no, that's the work that we do. That is how this whole thing comes together. So that's kind of one of the differences that I think made the difference for us to get to this deal, is that, once I was like, okay, we can't close this one. You weren't like, oh, that's it. I'm going to give up. You kept with the hustle and grind, which is the work that we do as deal makers.
Yeah. And so the average deal that I reached, 1 out of 100 that I reached out to actually got to you, Ace. So that's sort of the numbers of where, and I mean, honestly, I've been in sales positions before, and like seeing that's not that bad. For like, if you've been in a sales job, like 1 out of 100 come to a real close that you just did cold outreach to, like, I thought, being for a little bit of sales and marketing background, I'm like, this is fantastic. But I've talked with other people, and they're like, 1 out of 100. I'm like,
I'm not willing to do that work.
I'm like, this was just like, I thought I'd hit, a gold mine of how many converted. So
I will say, results are not typical, but I do want to know, from beginning to end, you started the work of doing the reach out. How many months was it till we got the deal that we ended up, the $5 million deal that we ended up doing?
So I probably began, and this is reaching out to, I would say it started at, between 30 to 40 a month. Because I started out a little bit slower in November 2016, I think, or something like that. So I was doing about that pace. We got into some pretty serious conversations over the next couple of months, about a half a dozen or so serious conversation.
Yeah.
And then Book Scatter, the conversation started, I think, in February. So I would say about 4 months before the Book Scatter sort of, which is honestly for a sales, like, that's not that even bad. Like, just pure, I mean, I know real estate people that have much longer dry spells, when they first start out. So, So
to get a 6-figure commission deal or referral deal, like within 4 or 5 months, like, again, the results not typical. So that people know it, once you follow the process, you're doing this work, you're doing the research, you're looking at deals, contacting people, it's a lot of work involved with each one. But if you're doing that, eventually you have those things that come through. The other thing that I'll say is that it wasn't like you weren't doing anything in the meantime. So during that process, it's not like, you made some investments, you had some other deals, you had some passive things. And I think that's the goal with all of this, is that as you're doing the bigger deals, you want to be closing and taking down those smaller deals. So to wrap this up, Jacob, tell me a little bit about your plans for the future. Do you want to do more deals? Kind of what are you up to? I know you've got some interns now that are helping you look for deals and that kind of thing, which is exciting as well.
Yeah, I'd like to. This was in the education realm, and I like that field. I sort of want to break that field and be the new thing that comes up. So that's the long-term goal. So I'd love to get into more big education style deals that can, really shift the game. So that's long-term, and anything that I can, this one I'd known the business quite well, and that was a fun part too. So any more business that I can, that are real near and dear to my heart that I can completely take over is going to be fun.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I was actually on an interview with Spencer Hawes and Nick Loper yesterday, and they were talking about, like, what's been my best growth strategy in the deals that we've done. And the truth is, it's just buying a similar deal. I mean, we've got a deal right now that is Open Rooms. It's a hotel business, and then taking over another business that's in the airline space. And the hotel business has 1 million people in the database. The airline business has 500,000. And so instantly we're able to cross promote those. And so it's the same thing in the education space and that kind of thing. Like, we really grow with acquisitions, because that's the surest way. Like, we can go and try to test a bunch of things to grow a business, or we can just buy another business, know that that one's going to get a return on our money, and then use it to grow the other businesses that are in a similar niche. So I love that. Can't wait to do more deals with you, man. You are a rock star. Congrats on this deal. And I am excited to blow this business up and grow it, man.
It'll be fun.